if your bass disappears in the mix or fights with the kick, the problem usually isn't the sound, it's how it's built. So let me show you how I designed and mix a minimal bass that sits perfectly. I will show you, this is like a small loop I have here that I made for this class. Okay, it's a texture, a kick, and a bass, basically, right? So let me turn everything down. You heard the loop, but let me turn everything off. Basically, we have this. So it's a kick with the bass and the texture, right? So how do I fix this? You know, it sounds muddy, doesn't sound perfect, doesn't sound like it's well mixed, right? It's just there, dry. First of all, I will show you a technique with the bass that I showed you in the other video. I'll show you here more detail. What I did is that I divided my bass in sub bass and mid bass. How did I do that? The sub bass, I just turn on the EQ. So I cut down from 30 hertz down with a high pass, and from 200 hertz above with a low pass. And then I duplicated that, and I, with the Control D, you turn on the channel and then just press Control D, and it will duplicate, right? So now with the duplicate, I put in a EQ and I cut with a high pass filter everything from 200 down, 200 hertz down. Then it sounds like this. Sub bass, high bass, mid bass. Okay. So what else did I do? It's to my mid frequencies bass here. I put a chorus bass. Ableton Live has it, just type it here and you will find it. So I put this chorus bass, and then look what happens when we turn it on. Off. On. It gives more dimension to it, right? To the sides. Now, other thing that I did is that I put an auto pan. You can use a pan man from Sound Toys, but you can use an auto pan. It's the same thing. Turn it on, and it goes to the output and make this mid bass go to the sides a little bit, right? A little bit to the sides, gives it more movement. Okay. Other thing that I did is that is really important is that you don't want the kick and the bass competing in the same frequencies, right? So what I did is just use two things, basically. First, use a sidechain compressor, right? So I put a compressor. The compressor comes naturally, it comes like this. So I put this arrow, like this little triangle here, I press it, then it's like this, so I press sidechain here, and then I choose my audio from. I want the sidechain compressor to go from my bass to my kick. So I could put it to my kick here, or I just created this SC channel here that is just a duplicate from my kick, but I turn it off, right? That is my sidechain channel. I have it cleaner that way, and it's better if you want like the sidechain compressor still to be activated when the kick is not sounding, right? So I put it to my sidechain to my kick, to my sidechain compressor channel of the kick. This sidechain compressor, I don't have it on because I would have like that duplicate of the kick. No, I just turn it off, and then I here without, here with it. So you hear that the bass lowers the volume. The sidechain compressor lowers the volume of my bass when the kick is active. And I made a heart ratio here because I really wanted to pump. You can use whatever, this is the created part. the same thing I did with the sidechain compressor here with my mid bass, right? So now every time the kick is active, the bass goes lowers the volume. Okay, so that's what I have here. I also put a sidechain compressor here to this texture, but that's not important because I wanted to pump. And the other thing that's important, I told you that was two things. The other thing that it's important is the EQing. You know, we already did a little bit of EQ, just cutting and whatever, cleaning. But now comes the detail part that I didn't do in my other videos. So this is why it's good so that you check all my videos, because I will go in more detail sometimes to EQ, right? So my kick, let's start with my kick. So let's turn on this EQ of my kick. So you see all of this here. I took things away, frequencies away. So what did I do here? Important and easy explained. I want my kick to be more present in the 60 hertz. This 3. Look here, when I in this part, when I hover in the 3, we'll go to 60 hertz, right? I do it like this so you can see it better. I want the most important frequency of my bass to be 50 hertz, right? So what did I do? If I want my bass to be the highlight of my bass to be the 50 hertz, then I take down here on 50 hertz on the kick, right? I take dBs away on the kick with my EQ because I want this part here for my bass. The other thing is that I took also a little bit in 70 because I want the 60 to be the most dominant, but just a little bit in 70. This is creative. You can leave it if you want, but this is the most important one. If you want, just take away where the bass is active, just take it away in the kick. And also I took a little bit here in the 200. This is also creative part, and this is also creative. I like this way, and I also recommend it. Is the kick usually has these high frequencies that we don't need and will compete with the hi-hats and everything, the clap, everything at the end. So let's take 7 and 8. Let's turn them off. Here you can hear some high frequencies, right? I will clean that down and take down with the 7 a lot. You see? I don't want that high frequencies, so I take them down with the 7 with a high shelf, and then I cut everything below 7 or something like that. 8, 10 with my low pass filter without without. So it cleans. Okay, so I don't want this high frequencies for my kick. And my bass, I also like, let's put here, I told you that I wanted my kick to be in 50 hertz, right? Then my kick to be in highlighted in 60 hertz. So I go to my bass and I take down on 60 hertz. So they don't compete. So like it's like a mirror technique. So you don't have them both, the bass and the kick, competing. The other thing I did here, that's for the EQ. The other thing I did here is really important. The kick is a mono, so I put a bass mono from the utilities here, bass mono. The bass is also mono, so I also put a mono here, a bass mono for the bass. And also what I did for the bass is put a little bit of saturation afterwards in my low frequency bass. How did I do that? I just put a saturator this case a decapitator, but you can use the saturator from the Ableton Live. Turn it on, and then just just a little bit. You see, I just a little bit, not all the way up, because I wanted to give it a little bit of harmonics, so you can hear easier the bass, like in small speakers and something like that. So it is just with that, a little bit of extra harmonics. For this mid bass part, I didn't use saturation here directly, but I put my saturation in my reverb channel. Here is a return channel with the reverb. So what I did for the reverb is, as I put an EQ before the reverb. I cut everything down below 400 or something like that. We don't need it. It will just mud your mix. Then I put a saturator after the reverb, and I made also a sidechain compressor to my sidechain here kick, so the reverb goes down every time the kick sounds. So let's try to, and I throw a little bit from my mid bass to that reverb, just that you can hear it there. Without the sidechain, with the sidechain. So it doesn't mud everything, you know, the sidechain is important here on the reverb. So that's for that. Now we have it like this. Without saturation. With saturation. You don't hear it easily, right? Doesn't matter. Gives a little bit of harmonics, and I recommend it to do it. So the other thing I did, really important, is that in the other videos I was gaining from these faders, right? It's okay to gain from here, doesn't matter, but what I recommend the most is that you gain or from your EQ, but what I recommend the most, a more perfect, is to do it with a utility, and just put it there at the beginning, and then just gain from there, from this gain here, and put it wherever you want it. The same thing for every channel, you know. This is like an extra tip I give you today, and I will give you for the rest of my life, but I didn't do it in the other videos, just to make it fast. You can also gain from here, it's no problem, but the difference is when you gain from here instead of from a utility or from the plugin or from whatever, or from the EQ, then you have the problem that if the signal is too hot, then it comes too hot directly from the plugin or something like that, then it will have an effect on your compressor, your compression, or in other effects and stuff like that. So I recommend really, it's a little bit better, a little bit more professional, to put your gains here. Do it from the channel. For example, here, let's do it for my sub bass. When, I showed you in other videos, when you have your kick, you want it to be in around -6 when you're mixing, and the bass, you want it 60 Bs under it, -6, -12, right? So I have, if you check my bass here, my sub bass is -6 on my kick as well, right? I can do it from here, turn it down from here, go to -12, but what I actually recommend is just go to your bass, put a utility, and gain from the utility, and look, the utility, without it, with it. So I gained from my utility, and that's much better, a little bit more pro. And the same for this one. I gained from there, everything from there. at the end, what is also important that you see here is that I have these groups here. So what I did there is a bass group and then a whole group for bass and kick. So let's start with the bass group. I group my mid frequency bass with my sub bass. I grouped it, and I'm with the idea to put a glue compressor. Why is it it's important, this glue compressor? If you have them together sounding like this, you know, they sound okay, but if you turn the glue compressor on, you know, it glues them together. When I take this off, you know, the small details make a good mix. You know, if you turn it off, you can realize that they come like from two different parts. If I turn it on, they come from the same part. And how I just wanted to bite a little bit. Look, the needle here is moving just a little bit, so attack in 1, release auto, ratio in 2, and I just wanted to be like threshold, not much, like just to be here a little bit, so you can glue them together and they sound like they come from the same part. So then that's the same idea that I took for the kick and the bass together. You know, I want my kick and my bass to be like the main part where everything goes around. So the main rhythm, everything goes around them, you know. So what did I do here? Like, let's take this solo away. So here is my kick and my bass without a glue compressor between those two. They don't sound cohesive. Everything sounds like in their own channel. Let's turn it on. You see, they are glued now together. You know, they sound glued together. They sound like they come from the same part. I will make the exercise to turn it off and on without me speaking, so you can just try to hear the difference. Master channel is around -6, which is what I wanted. And yeah, that's how I mix my kick and my bass. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being there. So if you really like this video, please hit the notification button, hit that like button, and also subscribe. It really helps a lot. And yeah, we see each other in the next video. Happy producing, everybody.